Joining us from Banbridge in County Down is Nigel Dodds. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, you've said that you can't back the Prime Minister's Brexit deal. Last week, you voted to find the government in contempt of Parliament. Is the confidence and supply arrangement still living? Because it feels pretty dead to me.
Well, as far as we're concerned, we're abiding by our side of the bargain. We entered into the confidence and supply agreement in relation to supporting Brexit on the basis of our shared priorities, the shared priorities of the Conservative Party and the Democratic Unionist Party. And what were they? To deliver control of our laws, borders and money for the UK, and also that the UK would leave the European Union as one United Kingdom. Now, if Theresa May wishes to go down a different path from that, then she can't count on our support on the Brexit deal that she has put forward, obviously. And it obviously has consequences. So, you know, it's really a matter for the Conservative Party. Our deal's with the party, not with any particular leader or Prime Minister. And it's a matter for the Conservative Party whether it wishes to maintain that confidence supply agreement. We're certainly up for that.
So if the Prime Minister can't or won't get more concessions from Brussels, what you're saying is you're ready to pull the plug on the confidence and supply arrangement?
Well, what we're first of all determined to do is to defeat the government's meaningful vote on this deal, along with many colleagues in the Conservative and Unionist Party, and along with many colleagues in other parties as well. That's our focus. Issues about confidence and supply come after that. It really depends what happens. Some people have been going about saying, you know, what are the permutations? What would we do? Clearly, if this is defeated or if the withdrawal agreement is changed in a way that is satisfactory, then clearly those issues don't arise as far as any vote of no confidence in the government is concerned.
One plan B that some people are talking about is this Norway Plus idea. Amber Rudd, for example, a member of the Cabinet, said that she sees that as plausible, staying in the single market and a customs union with the EU. Is that something that the DUP could swallow?
Well, as I understand it, this idea, which in my view, you know, quite frankly, this Norway Plus idea, or Norway being in the EEA, is effectively staying in the single market, free movement, taking the rules, paying in the money. So it doesn't fulfil the first criteria, set of criteria of taking back control of borders, laws and money. But as I understand it, even going down that path still requires this withdrawal agreement with the poisonous backstop in it, which everybody now, even it appears the Prime Minister doesn't like, makes you wonder why they put it in the first place. So it suffers from a number of, can I say, very fundamental problems going down the route of Norway Plus. The way forward is for the Prime Minister to get back to Brussels, understand that this deal is not going to get through. This withdrawal treaty should never have been agreed in the terms that it has, because it gives all the leverage to Brussels, hands over enormous amounts of money before the final deal is done, and locks Northern Ireland and the rest of the United Kingdom into arrangements which break up the United Kingdom and which would cause long-term damage to the economy and to the Union, as the Chancellor of the Exchequer has said.
It's pretty clear how opposed you are to the backstop. And of course, one of the fundamental objections that your party has with it is that it treats Northern Ireland differently to the rest of the UK. So my question is, why is it OK for Northern Ireland to be different to the rest of the UK on issues such as abortion, on gay marriage, and yet when it comes to, you know, the backstop, that's something you can't possibly diverge on?
Well, Northern Ireland is different from the rest of the United Kingdom in many ways, not just the issues you mentioned. We have a separate legal system, we have a separate Lord Chief Justice, we have all sorts of separate laws, but that's devolution. It was agreed as part of the devolution settlement that there would be certain areas and certain large areas of policy and legislation which Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland could do things differently from the rest of the United Kingdom, and so it is. But on issues like customs and single internal market, foreign policy, taxation and those issues, those are United Kingdom matters, and if you start to break up the United Kingdom on those matters, then you are creating internal barriers within the United Kingdom. Remember, the Prime Minister herself said that no British Prime Minister, never mind a Tory one, could ever accept customs and regulatory barriers within the United Kingdom. That's precisely what this deal does. It puts Northern Ireland inside the EU customs union, whilst the rest of the United Kingdom isn't, and it creates us taking single market rules, laws, over which Belfast nor London will have any say. And this will go on indefinitely, despite what the Secretary of State for Northern Ireland is running around saying. The Attorney General's advice is clear. This is indefinite. There is no way out unilaterally for the United Kingdom, which is an awful position for a country, the 5th biggest economy in the world, to find itself in.
Just to take you back to this issue of divergence, so if you say that it's okay to be different in some areas because they are devolved matters, why don't you choose to devolve on things such as regulatory checks? Because I understand that you're saying that these are fundamental issues to the United Kingdom, but many people would argue that on human rights issues like abortion, such as gay marriage and gay rights, these are also equally fundamental issues.
No, but they're devolved. I mean, you've got to understand the devolved settlement. Things that are devolved, certain things are. It's a matter for the Northern Ireland Assembly, and on some of those issues there would be a consensus in Northern Ireland across the board to take a different position from the United Kingdom, not just a unionist position. But the reality is that on customs, single market, the internal market of the United Kingdom, once you start to create different rules where the laws for goods, agri-food, manufactured goods, customs are set by countries which don't have your interests at heart, in which politicians in Belfast and London would have no say. You're basically saying, well, in those areas of law and the economy, massive for the future, our biggest market being the United Kingdom, sorry, you won't have any say. It doesn't matter who you elect. It will be for Brussels and politicians in other countries to set your rules and laws. How can any Democrat or anyone who has the slightest knowledge of the Constitution accept such a proposition? And it's something that the Prime Minister herself said no British Prime Minister could ever accept. All we're asking is that the Prime Minister abides by what she told us, by what she said to the House of Commons. I mean, the trouble with the present deal is that she has gone back on so many pledges and promises, so many red lines that she said have been ditched, and that's why she finds herself now facing a tsunami of opposition from right across the House of Commons. And in fact, the irony is that when you talk about Northern Ireland, the only people that are supporting her deal across the United Kingdom appear to be Sinn Féin and Nationalists and Republicans in Northern Ireland. The irony of the situation where they're now supporting the Tory Prime Minister against everybody else, even Jeremy Corbyn and the nationalist parties in the United Kingdom. OK, you raised Jeremy Corbyn there. If you do vote against Theresa May, as we know that you will, next week, and that deal falls, we really are in uncharted territory. We could see the government collapsing. We could see Jeremy Corbyn in number 10. Do you really think that Jeremy Corbyn and the team around him pose less of a threat to the union than Theresa May and the current administration? Well, I think you make leaps forward which are not justified. Suddenly, Jeremy Corbyn's going to be in number 10. I don't think anyone realistically believes that. This is a scare story being put out by Theresa May, because under the terms of the Fixed Term Parliament Act, everybody knows, even people in the Labour Party know that's unlikely, unless, of course, this deal were to go through. And I think then, clearly Theresa May would be in difficulties in terms of the parliamentary arithmetic. But in terms of Jeremy Corbyn, the Labour Party, he has said, look, this deal is unacceptable for a number of reasons, and he has said that there are good and sensible reasons why people in Northern Ireland would be opposed to it. I welcome that. But the fact of the matter is we're a long way from seeing Jeremy Corbyn take over. But I think that what is clear is that there is a consensus right across most sections of the House of Commons. Within the Conservative Party, both Remainers and Brexiteers are coming out against this deal because they see that it's bad for the United Kingdom, bad for Northern Ireland. It's something that doesn't deliver on the Brexit result. It's managed to, the referendum result, and it's managed to unite people who say it doesn't satisfy Remainers, it doesn't satisfy Brexiteers, and the Prime Minister has to go back and deal with the fundamental flaw, which is the backstop, and the fact that this would tie the United Kingdom into arrangements which would be indefinite, and in order to get out of them, would leave us hostage to fortune, to the demands of the European Union. OK, and very quickly, because we are nearly out of time, have you had any conversations with Jeremy Corbyn or the Labour team? I've obviously had discussions with Keir Starmer. We were very successful last week in forcing the government to publish the legal advice, which they tried to hide, and no wonder they tried to hide it, because it starkly revealed in terms that what they were saying about this backstop not being permanent simply wasn't true. So yes, I discuss with Labour colleagues. I haven't had any discussions with Jeremy Corbyn or John McDonnell, but I certainly have talked to the Labour team, as we talk to other parties as well.
OK, thank you very much from a very festive-looking County Down, Mr Dodds.
Thank you.